Welcome to our special series of summer videos from SchoolsCompared.com TV as we tour some of the most magical schools in the UAE. Today we are delighted to be with David Flint, the principal of Southview School in Dubai. Southview School is a British school that has focused on delivering an outstanding education for students, but with a level of fees that makes securing an education here much more affordable for the majority of families than other schools with an equivalent breadth and quality of facilities and investment in teachers. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
Thank you for welcoming us to your lovely school. So I have just 5 questions for you today. My first question is simply, what is STEAM and what is STEM? These are buzzwords and acronyms that seem to be everywhere, but what do they actually mean? Why are STEAM and STEM subjects important? And what should parents look for when working out whether a school is outstanding in these areas?
Thank you. Very good question, actually. STEM, STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and with the A, arts and mathematics, are collections of essentially core subjects. And the big difference, and why I think and believe that they're topical and important, is because historically schools have worked teaching subjects in isolation. STEAM teaching not only allows concepts and subjects to be taught collectively, adding relevance and practicality to the learning and to the subjects themselves, but also the skills that children actually develop from studying in that way are practical, usable, and relevant not only to their schoolwork, but also to their life beyond that when they go to university, college, or into the world of work. At Southview, STEAM is very much being geared up here. It's something that we put a great deal of focus onto. But not only the learning of the more academic aspects of STEAM, but also the pastoral relationship-based learning how to work with people, learning how to exchange and develop ideas with people, developing empathy and understanding. All those skills are brilliantly brought together in a good STEAM environment. And for parents looking to decide whether or not it's a good STEAM program or a bad STEAM program, or STEAM is of a sufficient proportion of the curriculum or not, a lot of that's about knowing the children. But as far as the school goes, I would suggest that the focus needs to be very carefully looked for. In other words, if the focus of the program in the school is the child and the child's development, particularly if it's on their terms, then I would say that's a positive indicator of a good school. What do I mean by that? There are a large number of schools in the world whereby the unwritten mindset is very much, we are the school, we have the skills, we will direct what you have to do and you have to meet our standard as a pupil. Well, I think the key to a good school is a school that can obviously maintain academic and pastoral standards at a high level, but also a school that can be dynamic enough to take the time to understand the pupil and the families in order to develop and meld their teaching so that it's more of a bespoke process rather than just an industrial sausage machine approach to education.
That was so helpful, David. It's a new area for many parents, and I think that many parents will now understand just why these are important in a school. My second question goes to the heart of something that worries every parent, and probably the most pressing issue of our time, COVID-19. COVID has had such a huge impact on schools, families and children. The big question here is that, has COVID-19 set back the education of all our children? And should we, as parents, be worried? What are parents saying to you and asking you, what are you doing at Southview School in Dubai to make sense of the brave new world we all find ourselves in? Over to you, David.
That is a very good question, very topical at the moment. COVID-19 is here and we're all dealing with it on a global scale at varying different levels. I think the only view that we can take in terms of COVID as educators is that it's actually an opportunity. And certainly to date, education and its assessment has been relatively linear and based on a past where manufacturing was the destination of most children in schools. A set of tests, each giving access to the next level. Well, with the onset of the pandemic, children and schools have had to shift foci quite significantly, and developing skills of dynamism, resilience, problem solving, innovation, communication, motivation, curiosity, inclusion, and questioning norms, particularly in terms of gender and ethnicity. So I see it as an opportunity for education to develop, especially in terms of assessment and widening the focus. I mean, today there are successful innovators in their teens, in their 20s, and examples of people who have made great successes of life and working life that haven't followed a traditional path. These are becoming more numerous. And the successful ones that have followed this non-linear trend are the ones I think we need to start asking questions about. Is there a suppressed demand of talent that's been choked so far by the traditional assessment routing? Is there a need rather to develop education so that we can identify non-linear talent and potential, nurture it and develop it further? As a civilization, human beings thrive on adaptation, and if we've got the courage to adapt in light of these new circumstances of COVID, I think children have a superb chance for the future, as does our civilization. Children being some of the most adaptable members of our species. Parents generally are very supportive of the school, and certainly within Southview, and also talking to other colleagues in other schools, there's a recognition of the teaching profession's status and skill set as an important part of society, and not teachers being looked at in some cases as, oh well, they made the plan B choice at university, as opposed to joining loftier professions. The other thing that parents have been saying, as well as acknowledging the worth of teachers, is how can we help? We want to be a bigger part of our children's learning. We want to be able to support that better. And at Southview, we welcome that. And we'd like to not only further include parents in the learning process, but also optimise that role for us. We keep it personal, and that for me has been a really important part of the success of Southview in certainly the time that I've been here so far, in ensuring that we're successful in providing a positive learning experience for children. We very much try to fit the child and what the child can do, rather than insist that the child meets criteria that we set as a school. And challenging the norms. This is a time of great challenge and great self-reflection. So in our school, for example, at Southview, if you're a girl, why can't you be an astronaut? Why can't you be an engineer? And we'll do our best to make sure that you get there. We're very keen on putting children into positions whereby perhaps they wouldn't ordinarily have contemplated in the past, in a positive sense, where they identify new skills and abilities. It's a time, as I say, of adaptation, but a time of great positivity and potential, I think, for education and for the young people going through it at the moment.
I think you make some really important points there, David. There is no manual for this COVID-19. I think that what we have seen is that if you're going to get through this, parents and schools must work together. I think that is something we can all agree on. My third question goes to the heart of one area that really divides parents, homework, and the balance of life and school. Many parents believe that schools are the place where children should learn, and they should not have their home lives filled with homework. Others believe that a test of a good school is that there is set homeworks, and preferably lots of it. For these parents, home is really an extension of school. Can you explain what you think are the arguments on both sides of this debate and your approach at Southview School? Go ahead, David.
Certainly can, and an argument that's been on, or a difference of opinion, shall we say, that's been ongoing for many years in terms of homework. While schools are places where children should learn, I think the debate is more about how they learn and the role of homework, and how homework or work outside the formal lesson times and session times actually supports a child's learning and character development. I think the key to this is balance and appropriateness. I mean, certainly with the difficult times that we're going through at the moment in terms of COVID, balance is critical. And a focus on mental health and well-being has been something that's been strongly recognised here. If those aren't addressed appropriately, children won't learn. They have to be in a confident, secure, motivated position in order to learn. Life and success is no longer solely judged on income and company position as well. And there's more to it and more to life than simply being the top scorer in terms of numerically assessed tests. In the same way that a successful university application now isn't just about academic attainment. The question that boards at universities will ask on admission is, well, what else can you do? The academic level is a given. And I think for a school, teaching and modelling the importance of a balanced lifestyle is critical to developing rounded individuals. It's absolutely essential. And ensuring that we have support and understanding from home as part of that is equally critical. I mean, children are in competition and they do need to hit academic targets, but the traditional volume-heavy homework is not necessarily the way, in my view, to achieve that. I think children need a variety of assignments with feedback based on teachers, groups, individuals. These are aspects that are far more powerful than the traditional homework of turning to a certain page, completing an assignment, and then having a numerical mark thrown back. I think for parents, though, the more traditional side of homework is very easily quantifiable. Parents can easily understand from a perspective that they're familiar with where a child is in terms of their learning and in competition with others in the class. Well, I think there's a responsibility there for schools to work with parents so that parents have clear instructions about the nature of the homework that's offered and how they can support it, and also draw the information that they need from it as to how the child and how well the child is actually learning. We all default to our experiences, and home and parents now are no exception to that. It's demonstrating the value and showing how parents can not only see it but participate in it is the key. Because success today and certainly tomorrow is not just about the balance sheet, not just about how high in a company a child can get. It's the what else. How are they as people? How do they adapt to unforeseen circumstances? So they have to be dynamic and adaptive in the way that they learn, so as to get the best out of them and to foster creativity, understanding, embrace determination and curiosity and a love of learning to make sure that success goes beyond just a benchmark test score and gives a wholesome person who's contributory but also beneficial to society.
Thank you, David. Okay, so to my final question, it has two parts. First, can you try and bring to life the three things that makes a Southview school education for children so special, and what sets your school apart? And the second part of my question, what was the last thing a student or teacher at your school said to you that made you smile and proud of your school and the education it delivers for each of its students? Over to you, David.
Thank you. I mean, for Southview, the 3 points that I'd offer, there's a lot of points I could offer, but the three that I'll give are, firstly, a deep care for children and their futures that extends far beyond test scores and benchmarkable grades, etc. That's something that we're very proud of here. Secondly, that families are listened to and circumstances, particularly in these environment of COVID pandemic, and family context are supported wherever we possibly can. Understanding the circumstances helps nurture a child and helps them learn in a secure and positive environment as possible. And not forgetting the most important one, despite COVID-19, despite the global negatives that are currently flying around in the media, we're fun, we're positive. We relish what we do and celebrate the achievements of children and adults throughout the campus. In terms of a last thing that a student or teacher at the school said to me, well, if only it was possible to put a look on a child's face into words. I had one this morning from a Year 6 child who said, "I love my maths teacher. She makes the work so much fun." And the second one is from a parent last week to me that was, "I have never known a school that goes to such lengths to care about my child. Those are things that make me intensely proud of this school and the people in it and the children in it and the community that we're part of.
That's lovely, David. Thank you. Thank you for sharing such amazing and interesting thoughts with our Schools Compared readers. As always, it's been a pleasure, and happy holiday to you, your staff and pupils.
Likewise, thank you very much indeed. It's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you.